Welcome to our channel, guys. If you're considering renting out a room, just like me, you're in the right space. Whether it's to make some extra income or maybe you just want to be social and meet some new people, there's a lot of things to consider, so tune in because we're going to dive into the pros and cons of adding a roommate.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting. You'll spend it and be broke again.
So starting out with the pros, number one, just like everybody would think, is additional income.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Your largest expense is typically your house, your mortgage, your rent, whatever it is. So if you're renting out that extra bedroom, that drastically brings that down. If you only have a 2-bedroom, that could cut your cost in half.
Yeah.
If you have a 3 or 4-bedroom, that could significantly, you could almost live for free, honestly.
House hacking.
Exactly. It is a great concept to look into, and this is a great way of doing it. You don't have to necessarily buy a duplex or triplex.
Yeah.
You just rent out your bedrooms, which is much easier.
Yeah, so whether you're trying to add friends, family, or some randoms, because that's kind of the situation I'm in right now, is I'm considering just adding some random people that I find online, which sounds super scary. Yeah, it always sounds super scary, but I mean, it's worked out before. I mean, you met a roommate, through one of the apps, and he's a cool guy. We're friends with him still to this day. Yeah. So there's a lot to consider, but obviously the biggest thing that you're going to notice is, of course, rental income. And hey, speaking of rental income, if your kind of natural progression is that you want to own rental properties down the future, I mean, this is kind of a good little practice run for you. It gets you a little idea of some property management, dealing with people. Maybe you have them sign a contract and just kind of being a landlord in a sense. It's great practice if you actually plan on building wealth in real estate.
And number 3 is the potential tax deductions. Honestly, I didn't think about it this way. I don't think either of us did when we were looking into this idea. But once we realized that's such a huge perk, not only are you bringing down your cost, you can also say you're making less, basically, by deducting your utilities, by deducting, obviously, your mortgage interest, your taxes,
repairs,
by deducting your repairs on those rooms. Obviously, talk to a tax professional. We're not saying it's that easy. They're going to know more of the details, your area, your state, what can actually be deducted and what can't. So this is just something we learned and we thought was interesting. So definitely check with a tax professional before doing that.
Now switching over to the cons, I feel like a few of these are also kind of obvious, and that it increases your responsibility and liability. I mean, adding more people to your house, naturally, there's a liability that, oh, if they get hurt, are they going to come after me kind of thing, especially if you're dealing with randoms. Hopefully if you're dealing with family and friends, you can kind of work something out, but there is some liability and some added responsibility of adding more people to your household.
Absolutely, and just not only the responsibility of making sure this person's nice to this person, but also the wear and tear on your house. If you're going through your house, you're taking showers, you're walking back and forth, it's one person. But if you have 3, 4 people, that's a lot more people walking through, potential to break things. You got to be much more vigilant, put more money aside, all that stuff. So much more thinking and responsibility goes into that side of things.
Yeah, because I mean, if you talk to anybody, they're like, oh, my tenants, they find a way to break things.
Yeah, blinds are like the easiest thing to go.
Yeah, roommates are the same way. I mean, people naturally break things. I mean, I'm sure I'll break something in my house at some point. It's just kind of something part of living. But I mean, the odds of it happening just increase with more people.
And the second con is potential conflicts. I did just kind of say that a second ago a little bit, but you have 2 roommates that you have no idea and they just don't get along for whatever reason. That is the chance of happening. The more people you add to the mix, the odds of conflict is higher. Or you have 2 cousins, 2 family members that you bring in the mix, and for whatever reason they just compete.
Happens.
One brings a dog you weren't expecting, the other one now wants a dog. But how do you deal with that? You're like, well, I can't really have too many dogs. I don't want that much going on. But hey, he allows it. Why can't I do it? So there's just more conflict, more conflict resolution. You could have that great skill in the end. Could be a pro.
Yeah, being a peacemaker.
Do you want to deal with that? That's the thing you have to worry about.
Yeah. And of course, just along with more people, I'm sure a lot of people are aware of this as well, it's just privacy loss.
Yeah.
Your space is not your space anymore. It's our space, essentially. Because if they're paying you to rent a room, they have the right to, the shared living space is obviously their room, of course.
The kitchen,
but you're just going to have less privacy, really. You're not going to be able to walk around in your underwear as much. You got somebody sitting in the living room now instead of just walking around your house. So, I mean, there are all these things to consider. I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware of it, but just really be aware of the full weight of a lot of these things, because the responsibility is tremendous. And, of course, privacy loss, chance of conflict that happens with just interacting with people. Now they're interacting in your house.
Yeah, and definitely let us know in the comments if there's a very big pro that we're missing here. We thought those tax deductions and also the income obviously are huge ones. But if there's one we're missing, please let us know in the comments, or something we didn't think about as a con. We thought the privacy loss was a big one that we were kind of like, it's just a whole nother thing you got to worry about. The conflict you got to worry about, the wear and tear you got to worry about more.
A lot of things to consider. I mean, for me personally, just letting you guys know. And of course, this isn't a recommendation like you should do it too. I am considering roommates right now. It's been a bit of a delay because I keep doing things around the house, but it is something I'm considering. But like me and Ryan are each other, we're in different situations.
Yeah.
He's married and everything, so you gotta also run this by your spouse if you're married. I'm
Absolutely.
sure you couldn't just
kids,
pop
you gotta
somebody
think
in.
about
I
that.
feel like that'd be a whole thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of things to consider. Run it by everyone that's already in the household, of course, and just consider the changes.
So in the best case scenario, it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
You have great roommates, you meet great people, you cut your cost, your biggest cost down significantly.
Hey.
Your roommates are clean, easy to deal with. That's the best case scenario.
Nice.
Worst case scenario could be hell. Could be a lot of different things that happen. But
could end up costing you more in the end.
But we can't live our life off what ifs. So
Yeah.
sometimes you just got to dive in. And this is just some of the research we thought we'd provide that we realized or read that was really interesting. So a lot of people, that's their major cost. So considering a roommate is something that might be a viable option for you. Please let us know in the comments if there's something else you're considering. Again, different pros and cons.
Yeah.
Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and definitely share with a friend that you think this might help, or you might be interested in them being your roommate. Be like, hey, what do you think? Can this work for us? And let us know. We look forward to seeing you guys in our next video.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting. You'll spend it and be broke again.